I think a lot of times we're all looking for, the vitamin, the this, the pill that, can relax our brain and this and the other. And meditation does that, but it's a practice, which means you got to kind of consistently do it. And so it really kind of helps me tune my consistency and my self-consistency and my discipline. Consistency is where a lot of people get held up because it's really hard to be consistent. Consistency compounds. I'm a big believer in you don't always have to raise the bar and do more, but lower the bar and be consistent because that's what's going to win. If you don't have purpose in life, I don't know where the fulfillment comes. And to me, I think most people want to feel like they're doing something of purpose, whether it's on their own as an entrepreneur or whether they're part of a company or, whatever that purpose is. I think it's really important. It's part of your soul.
And that is coming up next on Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show, so stay tuned. So, the big question is this. How are ambitious people like us, who don't have a lot of resources, did not go to Ivy League colleges, were not born into wealth, how do we become resourceful enough? Use our creativity, our dedication, and a little bit of crazy to bootstrap our way to realizing our dreams. Whether it is launching a new company, launching a new app, or making it to the top of the corporate ladder. That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. We have created a tremendous community of bootstrappers, entrepreneurs, and professionals who are ambitious, resourceful, and want to get things done. We brainstorm, support, and help each other out. So come join us. Navigate to bootstrapping.group, join today, and get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series absolutely free. If you enjoy this video, then do let us know by hitting that like button now. Or if you want us to improve our content, then go ahead and hit that thumbs down button and give us your honest feedback in the comment section below. Here at Tatternoodle, we are passionate about entrepreneurship, technology, and innovation. Every week, we bring you insightful and engaging videos, interviews, tips, tricks, and strategies to help you grow your business or rise in your corporate profession. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing and do not forget to hit that bell icon so that you are notified when we publish new content. Hello and welcome to this new episode of Bootstrapping Your Dreams Show. I'm your host Manuj Aggarwal, and today we'll be talking with Jon Dwoskin. Jon Dwoskin Experience helps business people to see what they cannot see and hear what they cannot hear. Jon trains entrepreneurs to enhance, improve, increase, and evolve not only their business, but themselves. He works with people to work towards an objective self-awareness that opens their mind to new ways of thinking and processing and dealing with roadblocks and challenges. Welcome, Jon.
Thanks, Manuj. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
All right. First of all, you have a very fascinating story. So can you tell us, take us down the memory lane and tell us a little bit about your story? From what I understand, you're also a cancer survivor.
I am. So I'll share a quick gist of it, not to bore anybody. But my business background, I'm 47, and I started an internet company out of college with my brother and a buddy of ours. I ran the sales, grew a sales team, and really was responsible for a lot of the business planning and holding people accountable within the company. Fast forward, we sold the company 2 years later to a Silicon Valley company. We're in Detroit. And then we were partners in that company for a couple of years. And when I could leave, I did, and ultimately ended up getting into commercial real estate, where I always wanted to be in commercial real estate. My grandfather was in real estate, and I was always fascinated by just real estate in general. And so, I always thought it was just like a fascinating concept, right? You look at a globe and it's not getting any bigger, and there's only so much real estate. And so I sold multifamily conventional deals in Michigan. And after about 6 years of that, I ultimately ended up just getting a little restless and bored. I'm an entrepreneur by spirit. When I was 18, my dad gave me a set of tape sets by Brian Tracy called The Psychology of Success. And I always, it really shaped what I wanted to do. I knew listening to that, I wanted to write books and speak and help people grow their businesses. And so I just felt it was time to start my own business. But I got offered an opportunity to take over my office at the real estate company I was at. And I did. And so I took over August 4th of 2008, the market crashed in September. The market was just flattened. For those people who are listening who were living through that, it was hellish. Anyway, long story short, over the 6 years, I grew that office to 45 agents, one of the most, if not at one point, the most profitable office in the company, 45 some agents, 60 some people overall. And it was a blast. I was on the CEO advisory committee and a national and regional trainer, and I was having a great time. But after 6 years, I was a little restless. I wanted to start my own business, and ended up resigning from that to start my own business. But before that, actually went in house to a company to help restructure them for a year, and then I started my own business. The cancer element of it, I'll just, in quick summary, when I was 30 years old, I was meditating, and I felt intuitively that I had testicular cancer. I can't really explain it. I just had been meditating every day. A holistic doctor of mine, Dr. Darren Weissman, had taught me how to meditate. And I just was meditating, and something just shifted in my meditations. And I just felt it. Went to the doctor. They shared with me that, I was fine. I asked them to take my blood. They didn't. Long story short, 30 days later, I ended up getting my blood taken again, and I did have it. Went through 17 treatments of radiation. And then 5 years of just a lot of CAT scans. And, but that being said, I'm very grateful for, being healthy and coming out on the other end, really good. And the lesson in it that I take, and I don't mean to kind of like brush over the stress and anxiety of it, because there was a lot of that, but the lesson that I pulled from it is, always keep yourself on a path of fulfillment, because you never know how long you got. And so I really made a commitment to myself to always do what I love to do, and to follow my dreams. And because at my 10-year checkup, they botched my blood and basically told me I was going to die. And I had all these emergency tests done, and they really had just botched my blood. And so a lot too many, that was a little too intense. But, and again, I feel like I'm a little long-winded right now, but I wanted to answer your questions. And the element of it is, never wait till you have to make a tough decision in your life. Take control of what you want, do what you want, have a plan, and know where you want to go.
That's amazing. I mean, this has been a very profound sort of teaching already. So I don't know what else is going to be in this interview. As you put it, like, once you're faced with the mortality, it actually puts things in perspective. And you rightly said, follow your dreams, because you never know when you can get the bad news or something else can happen. Right. All right.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Okay. So tell us what happened. Like, so is your passion sort of coaching people, helping other people with their business and their mindset?
So I've always been fascinated by business. I've always loved business. I've always just intuitively been connected to business. My father was an entrepreneur. He had his own dental practice. My grandfather was an entrepreneur. Most all people in my family were entrepreneurs. And I loved the whole concept of just being your own boss and building something that you are extremely passionate about. But I've always been able, even when I was a young kid, I would always talk to my parents' friends, and they would always ask me advice. I don't know. I just always kind of had a knack for it. I loved it. And so, yeah, so I grow businesses. Of all different types of businesses, and all over the country, all over the world. I'm working with clients, with C-level executives, with leadership teams, working with them on business planning, reverse engineering, building their business, finding what's blocking them and the assumption sets that are blocking them back, shifting their mindset, and then providing them tools to actually grow, be held accountable, and stay on track. And then I do a lot of training for salespeople and managers as well.
I see. And so what makes you a different business coach? I mean, there are so many business coaches these days. I mean, a lot of people on LinkedIn, they are approaching, I get approached every day. So what are some of the typical qualities of a good business coach? What sets you apart from others?
Well, one, I've actually been in business and grown businesses and sold businesses on my own. I've done it.
Mhm.
So I'm not
Wow.
taking somebody else's formula and selling somebody else's formula. I am also highly intuitive. I have a very strong sixth sense. I really can just get a vibe and a feel for things that are not being seen, are not being heard, and bring them to the surface.
I
And
see.
I know how to ask really great questions to uncover a lot and give people the tools that are customized for them. So it doesn't matter if I'm doing a keynote for 1,000 people, 500 people, it doesn't matter. If I'm doing group training, if I'm doing one-on-one, I can customize so everybody feels like they get something that they can put into their personal world, not just kind of like a standard staple, commodity-ish type of training. And
I
because
see.
I've started and sold my own company, built other people's companies, I'm a business coach that has been intuitively, I've been able to strengthen my skill set and use it to help other people. On top of that, I've studied my craft since I turned 18. I told you about my dad's tape sets. Um, I've been studying every single day. So, and of that, I have two business coaches. And so I am a constant learner and I'm never satisfied with the status quo.
Awesome. That's great. And one point you brought up, which I skipped over, was meditation. So how long you been meditating?
So I've been meditating. So I'm 47. I've been meditating since I was 26, 27 years old, for about 20 some
Wow.
years. And it's been
Wow.
a huge piece of my growth. I quiet my brain, and I also train my brain to get even more focused when I need to hyper focus, especially when I'm with clients. And so my ability to hyper focus with clients is really important for me, so I can really understand and articulate to them what they think they're saying.
I
And
see.
so for me, when clients hire me because they realize that I can get them unstuck, I can
Uh-huh.
get them thinking differently, I can give them the tools to grow at a faster rate than they can, and they realize that, you know, for every for every $20 they give me, I give them 100 back in value. So
Awesome.
it allows me to really value add. And meditation has not only helped me with being able to hyper focus, but also come up with some of my best ideas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can vouch for that. Meditation has helped me. Like I've started recently as well. And to your point, the ideas that come up, they just magically appear when you're in that state of mind, which always used to be cluttered with a lot of nonsense. So it's been magical for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think a lot of times we're all looking for the vitamin, the this, the pill that can
mm,
relax our brain and this and the other. And meditation does that, but it's a practice, which means you got to kind of consistently do it. And so it
yeah, yeah,
really kind of helps me tune my consistency and my self consistency and my discipline, because it's
yeah,
hard to find time sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to find a minute in the day.
yeah, yeah.
I find myself I wake up early so I can meditate first thing in the morning. But
Mhm.
sometimes it's even hard with, I have a 13 and a 16-year-old, and my wife's up and the dogs are up, and you got a lot to do. So
Yeah, yeah.
it's really, really important for me.
I hear you. I hear you for sure. But yeah, I mean, it's been, as you put it, like, we always look for solutions outside, but it's fascinating what is available inside and for free, as you put it, we need to commit our time and resources towards that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I
a
just
powerful
another
practice.
Yeah, another form of meditation. I've been doing some research lately on something called earthing, if you're familiar with
Mm.
earthing, which is
Um,
basically the practice of walking barefoot outside, and
I
that
see.
the energy of the earth is can help heal your body.
Nice, nice.
And
That's great.
so, there's so many great things that I try to learn so I can just be the best I can be.
Awesome, that's great. And you also talk about think big methodology. So, can you unpack for us what is this methodology?
Well, first, I'd like to always define what think big means, because everybody has a little bit different of a definition of it.
Yeah.
But the way that I define it is thinking big is about understanding what your big is. It's about understanding your purpose, your goals, and what you want to do. Because some people will say, well, what if I don't want to, get too big, or what if, it doesn't matter. It's what
Yeah.
your big is. But what gets in the way of anybody's growth and anybody's assumption set that they negative assumption sets that they have about themselves is where we start in the methodology. And the methodology starts with increasing your awareness, growing your frequency, evolving and grow and raising your vibration in things that you do, so you can then shift your mindset. Once you do that, then we dive in and we start defining the bedrocks of your purpose, your values, your mission, and your vision of your company. And then we start clarifying the big picture and what we got to do, and then creating a business plan, a roadmap, and reverse engineering all the nitty-gritty details that you need to do. And then it's about consistency. And consistency is where a lot of people get held up, because it's really hard to be consistent. Consistency compounds. I'm a big believer in, you don't always have to raise the bar and do more, but lower the bar and be consistent, because that's what's going to win. It goes back to when we were kids, right? The tortoise and the hare, right? And you don't have to, do 150% every day, but if you do specific things every day that are business development oriented, and you're also taking care of your clients, and you do what you say you're going to do, and you're consistent in everything you do with a high level of discipline, you'll grow your business.
Awesome. That's great. And now you brought up self-awareness a couple of times, and I am a big believer in that as well, because that is sort of the first step before anything else is put in place. So how do you raise your self-awareness? Can you share with us some tactics, some strategies that you use to raise your self-awareness?
Well, one, I'm a big believer that we all need a lot of mentors, and I personally have a lot of mentors around me that I reach out to. And so I have multiple business coaches. I go to a Buddhist monk healer. I get energy healing done. And I ask, and these people, these advisors, these guides, these people that I rely on, close friends, I'm always asking them for feedback. And, I think it's really, really important to put yourself out there, and to know where your strengths are and know where your weaknesses are, and have mentors and guides that can continually raise your level of awareness. And then it's about looking in the mirror. If everyone around you is, then you're the asshole typically. And so you have to really pay close attention. And I think sometimes people's egos get in the way, and they get into this like, everything's perfect, euphoric world, everything I do is amazing, when really it's actually the opposite, and they're in a state of delusion, not necessarily awareness. And so it's a fine line, and I think it really depends on the person. But the key is having very strong mentors, coaches, whatever you want to call them, family members, spouses. I would say my wife is probably my, the best person that keeps me aware of where I need to, grow. And if you don't surround yourself with those types of people, then you're probably just going to kind of put yourself in an island.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. And now let's move on to the mindset. So how do you shift your mindset? Because as you said, like, there are so many blockages that we have that we are not aware of generally. And, mentors help us uncover that, and self-awareness also helps us uncover that. But once you become self-aware, once you know, okay, these are the things that are blocking you, how do you sort of undo those blocks and then shift your mindset for growth?
So I think one of the best ways that I have found not only works for me, but works for my clients, is when I ask them the following question: what assumption, what 1, 2, max 3 assumptions are holding you back from what you want to accomplish? And that's where the stuck is sitting, right? And so if you look at, I'll talk about an executive, right? A CEO, right? They may think, nobody wants to interact with me on a day-to-day basis. because they have their managers and I don't want to, da 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 da. That's not true, right? A salesperson may say, I can't, I can't call people more than 3 times. If they don't call me back, I'm done. Not true. Right. So you can call it a self-limiting belief, but I call it an assumption set that somehow you've owned, which makes absolutely no sense and doesn't help you in any way. And so when you can recognize that assumption, whether it be 1, 2, or 3, are holding you back, it's then having the right mentors around you to retrain your brain and your mindset and your perception on a different path. I remember training a guy years ago, and he had this like ridiculous, concept of something. The content doesn't matter. So I said, where did you even hear that? You're so like headstrong on that. He said, well, I was working at a bar, and right before this one guy left, he said this to me, and I just said, oh, he's stuck. I said, but it's BS. Like you gotta, don't. And I think another thing is we have to really write our own narrative. So another way to change our mindset is write our own narrative, whether it's 1 year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, 10 years out. What's our narrative in our voice, not our parents' voice or our grandparents' voice or somebody who said something that hurt us that we've kind of taken and it scarred us. But what is reclaim your voice and your own narrative and live that element of your life, not somebody else's.
That's great. And then, once you have shifted your mindset and you're self-aware, you mentioned that you define your purpose, your mission, your vision, and values. So can you take us through that process and also share with us what is the significance of this step in this process?
About the mission and the purpose. Well, if you don't have purpose in life, I don't know where the fulfillment comes. And to me, I think most people want to feel like they're doing something of purpose, whether it's on their own as an entrepreneur or whether they're part of a company or, whatever that purpose is. I think it's really important. It's part of your soul. And that's, your people want to understand what their values are so they can match the values with the company that they want to be with or are with or want to ultimately be with. And same thing with mission and values. It's not, or mission and vision. What's your personal vision, mission, values, and purpose? And if you're with a company, for example, if you're with a company that's not in alignment with yours, then that's just going to eat you up. So figure out what yours are and then go find the company to match yours. If you're running a company and you don't know those things, then that's the soul of your business. That's the DNA. That's the blood of your business. And if you're not walking and talking that and getting people glued to that to plug into your purpose, values, mission, and vision, and layering in in the through line of your company, then it just gets stickier.
Yeah. But then again, being a devil's advocate, I talk to a lot of startup founders, entrepreneurs. When generally we say, okay, why did you start your business? The general answer is to make money. So do you think the real purpose could be just about making money?
No, I think anybody who chases money is on a path that is not completely fulfilled, because the energy of everything, to me, everything's about energy. And so if I'm always out for the dollar, right, I'm all about conscious capitalism, right? So being a conscious capitalist, right? The more money I make, the more people I can help. The more people I can help, the better the world is. I love what I do. But if someone's just out to make the money, everything that they do, right? The message, the pitch, the marketing, the people they hire, that's going to be the energy that's out there in everything that you do. It's all about the money. Well, companies that are focused on that, I think it's it's not a path that I recommend. Will it work? Can you make a lot of money? Yeah, but I'm looking at retention, turnover. Do your people feel like they matter? Are people connected to the vision? Do people trust you? Is there, right? There's so many elements of that. Is it important to make money? Yeah, we got to make money. This is America. We're in the business of making money. All right, business is about making money, but first and foremost, no.
Cool. All right. And then the next thing is, come up with a big picture sort of business plan and sort of get the whole business going. Is that correct sequence of steps now?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a specific process to build the business plan. I believe you call it the Jon Dwoskin Experience business plan. So how is that different from a regular business plan?
Well, I have different versions of business plans depending on companies and sizes and workshops and trainings and things of that nature. But I think all business plans aren't necessarily created equal. There's some really great business plans on a 3x5 card, but it's about understanding specific and measurable goals that you need to accomplish on an annual, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily basis, and staying not only pivoting and being nimble, but being able to adapt to the indicators and market changes and the economy changes that are happening in front of you. So to me, a business plan is a living document that needs to be created, and it's dependent on your company, the size of your company, how laser focused you need to be, and all of those types of elements.
Cool. And now everything is sort of in place at this stage, and now comes the consistency of taking action, producing results. So as you're getting more consistent, you also need to be flexible, because business environment changes, economy changes, a lot of things change. So how do you maintain consistency and also have the option of flexibility in your plans?
Well, I don't necessarily use the word flexibility. I use the word adaptability. And so, it's consistency is the key. Without consistency, people, start to grow their business. They get some business in the door. They stop doing business development, right? Business development is something you need to do every single day. I talk to clients all the time. If I'm working with the CEO and the sales team aren't bringing in sales, a lot of times they bring me in because I say, listen, if I can get the sales team making 2 extra calls a day, 5 extra calls a day, what will that equate to in dollars for your firm? But so if it's going to make you Z, then pay B and train your people. And I say salespeople because they need a lot of consistency. As a manager, as an owner of a company, if you're going to walk and talk to understand what's going on, so you can touch your people and you're talking to your people every day. If you're doing it once a quarter, then you're just kind of the guy who's inspecting, and everyone's going to worry they get fired. If you're consistently walking and talking and getting to know your people and understanding what you can do to help them and be a service and service leadership, well, then that's different. And so anything, if anybody had whatever anybody's unique ability is and whatever their top 3 specific and measurable goals are and what they need to be doing to grow the business, to grow the people, to grow the company, without daily consistency, you just don't get, you don't maximize what you can. And if you want to be able to work 18 months and 12 months, you can do some really simplistic things to fundamentally grow your business. And consistency and lowering the bar to what you can do every single day is one of the keys.
Awesome. That's great. And so you must have worked with a lot of entrepreneurs. You're coaching a lot of startup founders. And obviously the theme of the show is bootstrapping. So do you think this is an exercise that even startup founders who maybe, they may not have a large budget, they may be doing things in a scrappy way, can they do this process on their own as well?
I mean, everybody can do it on their own. But the key is what will accelerate your growth, right? So a lot of times when I'm talking to companies, I'm asking them, what's your number one, critical business issue, right? And do you have mentors? And if you don't, well, then it may take you 2 or 3 years to do this. If you have the right people and you invest in yourself and you don't look at something like this as an expense, coaching, mentors, et cetera, then you can actually accelerate your growth because you're bringing in the frequency and the vibration and the energy you need of somebody who's walked down the path and can help you accelerate yourself at a faster pace. And so you call, 3,000, let's say you make 5,000 cold calls throughout the year. And then at the end of year 1, you think somebody gives you a line or a tighter way of doing or saying something. You say, God, I wish I had that a year ago, because if I had that line, I could have probably gotten 10, 15, 20 extra deals, and that would have made the company $500,000, but I didn't want to invest 5, 10, 15, whatever $1,000, so I think a lot of startups sometimes look at investing in themselves the wrong way. They try to run around and do everything themselves instead of bringing sometimes the mentors and the people that can help accelerate the process and make it faster and more fun, frankly.
Yeah, for sure. And what are some of the other mistakes that you have seen people make other than not sort of investing in themselves?
Getting too big of an ego. You start getting some press and some PR and social media. You start getting some big clients, and you stop doing business development because you think the business is coming in, and I don't need to do business development now. I don't want to look desperate. It takes a lot of humility and vulnerability to no matter how busy you are to keep on growing your business and ask for business. And a lot of times I see people not asking for business, not doing business development every day, and just kind of resting into their pipeline. And that's a mistake because people change. People don't always come back. We have to work really hard to bring that client back in the door every single day. Same with our employees. And the next biggest mistake I see is people not treating their employees the way they need to treat them, and make them feel like they matter and that their opinion matters, and allow them the space to have a voice. That doesn't mean you're going to agree with all of their ideas or use all their ideas, but give them the platform to come and understand what a mistake is and do the best job they can every day, which is what they want to do.
Great. And so now what you mentioned was, sometimes people, they become successful, but they stop doing certain things like business development. So is it not a part of sort of the self-awareness that may have been skipped earlier that can be fixed, like in that stage itself, that, hey, when you start growing, don't stop doing these things because, it will not serve you well in the long term.
Yeah. Conceptually, they understand it in the beginning, but once you get busy, it's a different story. And so that's where you need somebody to help you get focused and constantly remind you, hey, do this today. You got a busy day? Okay, lower the bar. What can you do today to keep everything moving forward and keep it alive? So conceptually, people get it all in the beginning, but then they get a couple clients, they start getting busy, they quickly forget. And business development, for some reason, is always the first thing to go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right. And you brought up another point, which was, you need to work on your business. So I've heard this quite often. You need to work on your business, not in your business. So do you agree with that? And if so, can you explain a little bit more what your concept is about?
Yeah, no, I agree with it 100%. You have to set your time to strategically plan. It's easy to get stuck in the weeds, but working on the business and having quarterly meetings, weekly check-ins, monthly check-ins, having a living business plan, understanding where the indicators are. There's so many different indicators and headwinds and obstacles in the market today, much more than there were 12, 24 months ago, and probably many more in the next 12 to 24 months in front of us. And so we need to be able to adapt. Right now, with studies moving forward, they say that by the year 2030, 85% of the jobs that exist do not exist today. By the year 2025, 75% of the global workforce will be millennials. By the year 2027, 50% of people in America will be freelancers. Well, the landscape over the next 10 years is absolutely going to change. And so you have to constantly be working on your business so you can adapt to the change quickly, because there's no going backwards.
Great. Well, this has been a very enlightening conversation and very interesting one. I wish we had more time to continue on. Maybe we can set up another episode to bring you in for, talking about some things we could not catch up on. But
yeah,
before I let you go, can you tell us how people can reach out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I give my cell phone on every interview, podcast, keynote, coaching, everything I do. If you wanted to call me directly, my cell is 248-535-7796. My website is Jon Dwoskin, JON, D as in David, WOSKIN, jondwoskin.com. That will lead you to all my blogs, my videos, my podcast. My podcast is Think Business with Jon Dwoskin. It can be found on iTunes. And I have 2 other podcasts, Sales, and one that complements a book I wrote, The Think Big Movement, which is a business book told as a parable. I give free copies away on my website. You can just sign up for my mailing list. And and you can get to all my social platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything from my website. And I love working with new people. I love working with salespeople, with managers, with executives, C-level executives, CEOs, leadership teams. I do a ton of training and keynotes, and love talking to as many people as I can anywhere in the world.
Great. Well, I've done about 110 episodes. Nobody has given their cell phone number, so this has been a first. So thanks a lot for trusting our audience with that.
Well, you know what I think,
again,
but I just want to say we live in a world where too many people, in my opinion, are sending out, hey, you want to talk to me? Like, here's my assistant, my virtual assistant. Here's a link to sign up for a time to talk to me. Well, that just doesn't fly. People call me, I call them back the same day. Right. If it's too late because of a time zone, I shoot them a text and I set up a time to call them or let them know I'm going to call them XYZ time. So to me, what differentiates me from, I think, also going back to one of your questions, other business coaches, my accessibility. I am accessible and I get people productive.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Thank you once again. Please do consider joining me again for another episode.
Yeah, I would love it. Email me and we'll set something up. It'd be great. I really appreciate your time and having me on the show, Manuj.
Thank you. And that's all for now. Until next time. Now, if you're an entrepreneur or a career professional, then I invite you to join our growing community. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. As a welcome bonus, you will get the Startup Founders Technology Accelerator video series and Mastering Your Inner Game video series absolutely free. This series of short videos address some core issues which are instrumental in helping you move forward in your business or career. The videos are yours to view and share for free. No obligations or strings attached, except for one. You have to take action and implement it. So join us today. Navigate to bootstrapping.group. If you want more engaging videos and insightful interviews with industry's thought leaders, then check out the other videos we have picked for you. The link is right there. And if you want to be notified about our new content, please do consider subscribing to our channel.